Happy Monday, everybody. It is the Prop Queen Pod. I just found out that our guest is not feeling so great today. So we might have a mini pod today. So, okay. Hi. I'm never on time. We all know that. Thank you for the happy birthday to Papa Marty. The Knicks are still ass. Yes, that's true, Sean Michael. We're just going to do mini pod today, and we'll talk NBA best bets. I've got prep queen edges in the NBA for a few games on the slate. Gave out a newsletter this morning of some of those NBA props as well. And honestly, I just haven't had any time to look at what's gone on in those games. Just trying to communicate. Let's take a look at those games from today, by the way. Philly and Charlotte. Charlotte's kicking their ass. Atlanta ends up beating the Indiana Pacers 130-116. Atlanta was laying 5. Total was 234.5. I guess, wow, Benedict Mathurin did play. He ended up going over his points prop. That was given out in the newsletter. He had 16 points. Benedict Mathurin's point prop was way too low. He's done really well on the road this year, actually. He came off the bench, played only 25 minutes because of his thumb injury, but still had 16 points. And I think that prop was like 10 or 11.5. What else stood out to me in that game today? Jalen Johnson, I said under 7.5 assists. He had 6, so that cashed. Oh, Mathurin was 13.5 at even money. He's averaging 19 points a game, Mathurin, against bottom 10 defenses, which is obviously the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks allowed the 6th most points per game. So both props ended up hitting in the first game. And then in Philly and the Hornets game, with the Hornets up 116-73, we have no Paul George and no Joel Embiid in this game. I said LaMelo over rebounds plus assists at 12.5. He's currently at 10. LaMelo over 4.5 assists. Rebounds. He only had 2. LaMelo over 7.5 assists went over. He had 8. Miles Bridges over 3.5 assists. He's currently at 3. For the Philly side of things, VJ Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre, and Adam Bona all struggle on the boards without Embiid and Paul George. Edgecombe had 6 rebounds, so he went over 4.5. But Kelly Oubre went under. He's at 2 right now. And then Adam Bona, did he play? Yeah, off the bench, 2 rebounds. So those unders looking pretty good for 2 out of those 3 that came out in the newsletter. And then Quentin Grimes. Where are you, Quentin Grimes? I said over 3.5 assists. He had 4. Wow, what a great start to the day. What a great start in the NBA, everybody. Shout out. So props did really well in the first half of games. We've got props for the second half of games, and I think Jared Block is going to join the show from over at Trinity Analytics. He said he's not feeling well, but he can chat for a little bit, so we'll get some of those. I know obviously the big story of the day is the Super Bowl and how we are going to have the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots going head-to-head. I had a crazy situation yesterday because in the Splash Sports contest, I had it perfectly set up if the Rams won the Super Bowl, because I had 2 Survivor contest entries still alive, and I had the Patriots and the Broncos to be able to choose from. So I picked both of them for this round, but the problem was I already picked the Seahawks in both, so I needed the Rams. And I was like, okay, I don't feel so good about this game today, so I'm going to go and take the Seahawks before last night's NFC Championship game. I took the Seahawks last night at plus 165 for like 280. So I'll make I think it was to get back 7 something. So I do have now a Seahawks Super Bowl ticket. Let's hope the Seahawks end up cashing over those New England Patriots. I can't believe the Patriots are in. That AFC, terrible. Terrible. No, it's okay, Craig Abel, because I have a Seahawks ticket now. Because it was like a kind of hedge-ish, just to kind of protect myself. So now I'm a big Seahawks fan. Let's go, McDonald. From a props perspective, it's going to be annoying because attacking the Seahawks with tight ends and running backs is the way to go. So we will definitely be on Hunter Henry props. We will try to figure out how the hell to handicap Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. That's a nightmare. on the Patriots defensive side, they don't have too many holes defensively, which is going to be tough, but we probably could attack the Patriots. Definitely, I'm going to be looking for a lot of defensive player props. And you can't even bet field goals against the Patriots. They allow the least field goals per game in the NFL. Seattle already lost? What are you talking about? So I'm definitely very nervous about the prop edge against the Patriots because there's really not that many. There are a few against Seattle. However, defensive player props is where it's at. Yesterday, we had Alex Singleton for Denver, over 8.5 total tackles. He flew over that. That's the way we attack the Super Bowl, is defensive props and special teams props. So I'm very excited to dive into those markets. Then, of course, there's always those crazy Super Bowl markets, like are they going to return the opening kickoff, or what were some of the other interesting ones? Obviously, there's the coin toss, but we don't need to talk about that. There were some other really interesting, the Gatorade color. That one also comes down to a science. But yeah, I think like the one about Mid-Major Matt talks a lot every year about the stats with the opening kickoff, over under punts in a game. So those markets are always really fun. And I'm going to try to get on the props.cash, guys, because that's one of my favorite sites to use. And I feel like for the Super Bowl, they're just going to be overloaded with so much stuff. Octopus. What is octopus? The other thing that stood out to me yesterday, so pregame, before the NFC Championship game, I found it interesting that when the lines came out for the hypotheticals, that the Seahawks and Rams were both hypothetically minus 3.5 against the Pats. I felt that was unfair because the Seahawks were laying 2.5 against the Rams. And I know that's home field versus a neutral site, so fine. But I did feel the Seahawks would have been 1 point better. And that's why you did end up seeing, as soon as the Seahawks won last night, that hypothetical went right to 4.5. I even have seen some 5.5s. It's taking everything in my power to not bet the Pats plus 5.5. I'm going to try to see if we could catch a 6, but I doubt it. I think it's going to fluctuate between those awkward numbers of 4 and 5. Kelly and I will be in Super Bowl Radio Row. We are going for Splash Sports. Shout out to Splash Sports. They've got some good contests coming up. So Kelly and I are going to be doing the whole Radio Row San Francisco thing from Tuesday to Friday. We'll be at Radio Row Wednesday and Thursday. We land Tuesday. We're going straight to Wine and Oysters. But if anybody has good recs, let us know. We're getting like a late lunch at Wine and Oysters or something. Like there's like a Wine and Oysters place that looks at the Golden Gate Bridge, to which I've never been in. The only time I've ever been to San Francisco has been to fly to San Fran to go to Napa. So I've literally only ever gone to Napa from San Fran, but I've never done San Fran. So if anyone has recs, let us know. But yeah, we're getting oysters and wine when we land. Then we're going to get our hair done. Then we check into the hotel. Then we're getting dinner. Then we'll get a good night's sleep. Then Wednesday, we are up bright and early doing Radio Row, Wednesday and Thursday. And I'll actually be doing the Ringer sports gambling contest from Radio Row as well, which should be really fun. Radio Row is so fun, guys. And I'm going to try to do as best I can for all the content because it's a really cool experience that there's just so many people walking around this giant convention center. You never know who you're going to see. I interviewed like Adrian Peterson when I was there a couple years ago. I got to interview, oh my gosh, who else? Gosh, there's so many. Antonio Gates, I got to interview. That was really cool. The crazy part is that when I went to Radio Row 2 years ago in Vegas was right when the Ravens lost. So there were no Ravens in attendance. Now I'm curious. I'm going to see some Ravens in attendance too. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, it's a who's who. You just never know who's going to be walking around on Radio Row. And of course, just like I've done all playoffs, I'm going to have a huge Prop Queen guide for all subscribers. So if you subscribe to the PropQueen.com newsletter, there's going to be a massive Prop Queen guide. I might have to separate it, though, into offensive versus defensive and unique markets, because the defensive markets and the unique markets probably aren't going to come out as quickly as already the offensive player props did. I've already looked. I screenshotted every offensive player prop last night. So when you get the Prop Queen guide, and we will go through it as the week goes on, I'm going to have every number that came out on Sunday and comparing it to how it's all moved as we approach the end of this week, the end of next week. The line moves last year really mattered. Last year, there were some props that moved 10 to 15 yards since the open. If you like something, you got to get in now. I'm going to attack it tonight because what else do I have to do with my life except drink some wine and handicap the frickin' Super Bowl 2 weeks from now? Because there's nothing else that gets me more angry than having to talk about the same game and the same props for 2 weeks. This is actually the 2 weeks of the year I hate. I love the Super Bowl. I'm excited that next week at least I'll be in San Fran, so it's a change of scenery. I, as a media person, and most media feels the same, by the time that we hit next Tuesday, we're going to be so sick of this stupid Super Bowl by then. It's the same story over and over again for 2 weeks. Way too long of a layoff. My favorite wine? Oh, Craig Abel. Depends. If I'm just chilling at home, for the most part, I usually go with a Sauvignon Blanc, like a cheap Kim Crawford, or the Pinot Grigio Santa Margarita is very good. Kelly gets mad at me and would like to smash those white wine bottles on my head because she thinks that I am cheap. But then if I'm drinking a nice red, here's the problem. I could go a little cheap on white, but I can't go cheap on red. You cannot be cheap on red. So on reds, I have a good cab, but they have to be good. My Italian ones, the ones from Italy, so good. Cantina Vesuvio, oof. When Kelly and I got those wines, they were inexpensive and so damn good from Italy. Marley, how's she handling the weather? She's doing great. She had a great time out there this morning in the snow, but it's cold. Yes, EC Money, we're going to Super Bowl Radio Row, Kelly and I, but we will not be at the actual game. We will be leaving on Friday. I'm throwing my own personal Super Bowl party because it's easier with Marley to just not have to worry about leaving somewhere and going to walk her and coming back. I could just host everyone here and have some less expensive booze. Let's bring on our guest, Jared Block from Trinity Analytics, Props.cash, joining the show. Hey, I know that you're not feeling so great. I don't know if it's just a hangover from yesterday or if you're really under the weather, but thanks for being here.
I am actually really under the weather. You'll hear it in my voice
what's
as I go along. I rarely ever get sick, so it's just a sore throat thing. But
my friends and I were saying that actually this is the week to get sick because you don't want to be sick next week. This week's so boring.
Yeah, NBA getting blowouts the last 24 hours doesn't help anything either. Right now, the Hornets are currently beating the 76ers by 42.
It's crazy. I mean, I know that there's no Paul George or Joel Embiid in that Sixers game, but still, the Hornets are absolutely crushing it. But props did pretty good this afternoon slate for this weird weather slate. But we've got props for tonight that I definitely want to get to because we've got some pretty close spreads outside of the late games that were a little hard to cap. 10.5-point spread for the Rockets. Then the late game with the Warriors, Draymond and Steph are questionable, so that's impossible to cap.
Yep.
Earlier games. Let's start with, I guess, I don't even know what you've got for today, but I guess that first game would be the Cavs game.
Yeah, so I don't have much for Cavs Magic, but I do think it's a really nice spot for Donovan Mitchell on paper. We've noticed that since Jalen Suggs has been out, teams have really been able to take advantage of point guard scoring against the Magic recently. So D-Mitch, certainly a guy you can look at and feel confident with. From there, there's not really a lot of things that I love about the Orlando side. Anthony Black's in a good 3-point scoring spot. The Cavs are one of the worst 3-point defenses in the NBA. As of recent, basically since Christmas, they're one of
it annoyed me because these two just played on Saturday. So anything that happened in that game, I'm not betting, aka Anthony Black over threes.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't that game get really out of hand? Am I remembering that right?
The Cavs won 119-105.
Yeah, these games blend together. But if I were to remember correctly, yeah, that's the day that I definitely said people should play Black, and he didn't do anything. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can continue to attack it. Baseball is so much more of let's go back to the well situation rather than basketball. Sometimes we get these back-to-back things where like Minnesota, Golden State's a great example of this. Like imagining trying to, guess which side of the blowout you're going to be on is pretty hard when you're going back-to-back, same game, same time, basically. 24 hours ago, Golden State ended up smashing the the Wolves, and we'll probably see the opposite side of that tonight.
We've got this Trailblazers and Celtics game. These two also saw each other about a month ago, December 28th. Blazers won 114-108. Celtics at home tonight, laying 8. Is that too large a spread for you to be betting anything, or do you like anything there?
No, not. I actually do like Portland quite a bit, and I'll tell you why. Because I do think that when you look at Celtics games, the first thing you look at is their 3-point spot good on paper, because they have a lot of great 3-point scorers. It's basically what their team is built on without Tatum right now. So the answer to that tonight is they're not in a good 3-point spot, which gives me some confidence that Portland could keep things competitive. Especially got to keep an eye on the Denny of Diaz stuff. He's questionable tonight for them. With that said, this game screams Jaylen Brown. Like I said, he's the only guy that doesn't need to rely on the 3-point shot to go in. And we've already talked about this not being a good above the break matchup for Boston. Portland's more of a we're going to give up a lot of points in the paint and points in the mid range, and that's essentially what JB does if they can't get 3-point stuff going. So I like him. And then on top of that, defense from Portland's been kind of just falling off to the wing position recently, and that's kind of just like creating a stars align moment for Jaylen Brown, and an interesting narrative. Drew Holiday on the other side.
I know. I was wondering with the Drew Holiday situation, he wasn't in the last game that these two played in December, and Drew Holiday has a pretty good matchup tonight against a bad perimeter defense.
He does, and specifically from an assist standpoint too. Boston's been a team that we've attacked all year from an assist standpoint with point guards. If we don't get Denny, then that's even better for Drew Holiday. But right now, we're seeing Drew play 18 to 22 minutes a game, back-to-back games of 7+ assists. So I like that. I think you can kind of lean into that. And I probably wouldn't, be playing much Portland over the next 3 weeks or so. But it does make sense if Denny is out tonight.
If Denny Avdija does play, just Rodriguez wants to know if you like him for 20+.
It's not really the best matchup for him necessarily. You want 3-point shooters against Boston. That's kind of just where they've been leaking the most points. And that would lean more into like a Toumani Camara or maybe even a Caleb Love, who I like a lot in this matchup. Wouldn't be looking for Denny outside of maybe like rebounds plus assists.
And then he also asked Ant-Man overs.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been one of the hottest scorers in the league over the last 10 days and just putting up monster numbers, went ballistic in the spot last night. It's just tough to trust because he's the first one to sit in a situation where I don't know if Steph and Draymond are playing the second leg of a back-to-back. So, yes, if I think this is one where like it's still tough for me, and I know for you too, because we try to give these plays out 4 or 5 hours ahead of time, try to get the good numbers, and we just don't have any news on this. And this game was 9:30 Eastern.
Yeah, so, ridiculous.
You're not going to find that
newsletter,
news.
And I was like, screw you guys. I'm not including your game. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say, I guess my only advice, because I do like the ant spot. They're giving up a lot of. It's not really a 3-point spot against Golden State, but it is a spot where they just don't have the capable defender without Jimmy Butler now. And I think that Ant can just go ballistic in this matchup. I would say if you plan to do that and you want to wait for that news, you probably are best, and hopefully you're in a state that you can play a sports book straight. I would just take Ant when you get that news.
Lakers at Bulls. Lakers laying 1.5 on the road, total 237.5. Luka, LeBron, or are you going elsewhere?
Yeah, they have brilliant. Luka and LeBron both have really strong trends from the rebounds plus assists market without Austin Reeves. So I do like the majority of what that looks like. On the other hand, we do know that Chicago has fixed their 3-point stuff, and I thought it might have been just a lack of recent really strong guard matchups for them, but they've held point guards to one of the lowest clips of scoring in the league recently over this last 7-game stretch. This is basically every game since Christmas, or the majority of them. So this is way more of a LeBron driving game than it is a Luka scoring from 3 kind of game, but it doesn't mean that he's going to do poorly. I still expect Luka to go, your 25, 10 and 10, getting close to a triple-double tonight, but I'm more focused on him from a rebounds plus assist standpoint, whereas LeBron's more of the I'm going to score in the paint kind of scorer in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls are the right place and team to do it against. A team bottom 10 in points allowed, a team bottom 10 in assists allowed. So they should have a good night tonight. Memphis and Houston, large point spread. Houston laying 10.5 at home. Total 224.5. Anything here?
You worry about this one getting out of hand a little bit. We do know this is a really good spot for Jabari Smith Jr. in the event the game does stay close. We've mentioned the Bulls in this conversation of worst teams against power forwards over the course of the NBA season. That title now belongs to Memphis. They are the worst team against the power forward position over the last 7 games specifically. You can count the whole month of January if you'd like to from that regard. And on top of that, we do know that Memphis is going to be missing not only Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, but also we do have the news that Jack Londale is going to be taking a personal day, and then on top of that, Santi Aldama is questionable. So really lack of defense there on that side. So I like Jabari Smith, but I also do worry about this game getting relatively out of hand with all those injuries.
Super Bowl. Now we have it set. Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots. I know it's early and I don't want to keep you talking because of your throat hurting. Where are you going to look early to try to dive in? Like, what prop edges would you say are out there that you're like, yeah, now that that's the matchup, that's where I'm going?
I think you can look at what's happened yesterday, and a lot of what we talked about early on in the week, and then obviously what I do behind the scenes at Trinity did come to fruition. We saw Drake May essentially put the game on his back from a rushing angle, and that was something that we looked a lot when it was regarding the Denver man coverage stuff. They kind of just let quarterbacks run all over them because they're so focused on playing man-to-man coverage and trying to lock down receivers. And you saw that kind of play out in real time. Though again, really tough sample with the snow situation. So I just don't know if Drake May is going to be able to use his legs in this matchup. I think that he's going to have to rely on throwing to Hunter Henry, and that was a matchup where I liked it yesterday. And
Me
it just didn't come to
too.
fruition.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, just didn't come to fruition. Didn't get there. But we did see the Rams tight ends just absolutely smash against the Seattle Seahawks, and you should expect to see something like that. I would assume Hunter Henry props are going to be probably bet to oblivion by this time next week, and I wouldn't be shocked to see that go up. I heard you say 10 to 15 yards. I would not be shocked if he was on the long list of props that got bet up that high. So I think the biggest weakness for Seattle is their tight end coverage.
Me too.
And I just don't know.
Or pass catching backs.
We've seen. So yesterday was the toughest running back matchup that the Patriots have had in well over a month. Mm-hmm. And they didn't really have much success in doing that. And again, you kind of just take the second half of that game out and kind of throw that one out because no one was running the football effectively. But with that said, like, I just don't know how they're going to be able to get much going on the ground against the Seahawks. And that's why I think that, 4.5 feels high as an initial line. I know it opened at 3.5, but it's all the way up to 4.5 in some places. I kind of get it. I kind of understand why. So I'm not saying like Patriots +5 is probably going to look pretty good next week. But I'm not like a super, I don't consider myself a sharp sides totals guy, but I understand. I just don't really see many pathways to New England really being effective on the ground.
I said it in the chat earlier. Well, I said it to the chat earlier that I have the Seahawks now +165, jumped in right before NFC Championship game started. So I am a Seahawks fan. I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, I don't trust the Pats. I didn't really trust anyone out of the AFC. I don't trust the Pats. And I had so much Rams Survivor that I was like, all right, the Seahawks, I'm getting them at +165 on the money line. The look-aheads came out, and the look-aheads had these teams at -200. And once the game ended and the Seahawks won to almost -300. So I basically have a +165 money line on the Seahawks.
Nice.
So that was the way I played the side.
It'll be truly interesting to see. So Seattle was the #1 EPA per rush defense. and I just don't know how effective that Pats running back room is going to be. And it's basically like, I guess we'll see if they give Travion Henderson more of a workload. If Ramondre can't get things going, with this whole postseason has been all Ramondre, and Henderson has just been a non-factor. So I guess we'll see how that goes. And on the other side, like this is like this Super Bowl is going to be a game of defense, and I know nobody wants to root for defensive play, but I'd be looking at a heavy undercall, because I do think that the public will react to that what they saw last night, which was a shootout and a deserved one. We kind of just I kept telling our chats that like they have the opportunity to steamroll because the Rams were the worst pass defense of the remaining 4 teams. We saw that play out. I didn't expect the Rams to fight back the way that they did and make it as close as they did, but
you could thank a horrible flag against the Seahawks.
Well, yeah. That they definitely got the shootout that the NFL wanted. I just don't think that that's going to play out similarly. These are 2 of the best defenses in the NFL, and again, no one really wants to see that play out.
It's going to be a low-scoring, boring game.
Yeah, it certainly could. It certainly could, and that's why I think what the total sits right now at 45.5. Do not be surprised to see public initially put a lot of money on the over, so we could see it getting towards a number that's more critical in betting of like 47 or 46.5, and then you can start to see some sharp action on the under, because I don't think we're going to get 47 points next week.
Well, Jared Black, we appreciate you coming on, even though you're feeling a little bit under the weather. You are the greatest. Coming over from Trinity Analytics, props.cash. Appreciate you coming on, giving us some NBA stuff, a look ahead to the Super Bowl. I will talk to you soon. Feel better, my friend.
Thank you.
Poor Jared. I'm glad that he came on, though. We needed some NBA stuff, and I'll have NBA stuff as well. But first, I did forget to mention how pissed off I was about yesterday's snow, because all the weather indicated, according to the meteorologists out there, that the snow wasn't going to impact the game until way late, like might not even impact it at all. So did I handicap with snow? No. I ended up losing the Drake May pass attempt prop, which should have hit in a close game, as I predicted, because I had Denver plus 5.5. I had a feeling that the game was going to be close. So Drake May would have to throw the football. And of course, like Jared said, to his tight end, Hunter Henry, who had a great matchup against Denver. Did it hit? No, because the Patriots won a game with being too scared to throw in the snow. You know who wouldn't have been scared to throw in the snow? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Good quarterbacks will throw in the freaking snow. Patriots played it safe. They won. It makes me so angry. Anyway. For the Super Bowl, John Ewing from BetMGM posted this. Since 2003, Super Bowl favorites are 7-15 against the spread. Favorites of more than 3 points, 2-9 against the spread. Seahawks -5 against the Pats at BetMGM yesterday. So that was pretty intriguing, because I need to decide who I'm picking against the spread in my pick'em contest. I am 2 points away from number 1. Out of like 50 people, I am 2 points away from number 1 of my pick'em contest, so I need to pick the Super Bowl winner correctly, or else I could be out of money, and that sucks. Anyway, we've got propaganda for tonight in the association. The most bet on props of the day at MGM. Here it is, propaganda. I'm going to just tweet out prop queen edges in the NBA on now. Okay. Here are the most bet on props of the day over at BetMGM. Donovan Mitchell over points, Kamara under 2.5 threes. Amen Thompson under rebounds, Jalen Wells under threes, and Thompson over PRA. So if you like to fade the public, that is how you can do it. You could fade any of those. Public did okay yesterday, though, in the NFL, so we'll see. But I've got my prop queen edges of the day. So the way I'm going to attack Donovan Mitchell is going his under assists. Donovan Mitchell is, hold on, let me just get my stats up. So no Darius Garland. But again, these 2 teams just played on Saturday in Orlando. And you know that whenever something happens in game 1, I don't like to bet it again in game 2. So when the Cavs won 119-105 last game, Donovan Mitchell had 9 assists on Saturday. Prop 6.5. Well, he's only averaging 5 assists per game at home without Darius Garland this year, going under in 70% of games. Orlando allows the 8th least assists per game as well, with Donovan Mitchell going over in the last game against a team that doesn't really allow a lot of assists. I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell under 6.5 assists. An underrated play, Orlando small forward Tristan da Silva over 6.5 points. He only played 20 minutes Saturday, but had 0 points. And if you don't play a certain player a certain way in game 1, then usually you're going to change up the roles in game 2. Prior to the last 2 games, Da Silva is averaging 8 points a game on the road, and he went over in 3 straight, 7, 13, and 14 points. So 3 of the last 5 went over 6.5 points, Da Silva, without Franz Wagner. Cleveland allows the 10th most points per game. Believe it or not, in the last 10 games, small forwards have gone over their points prop 60% of the time. And to Jared Black's point, yes, it is a great matchup for threes. Anthony Black, Desmond Bane. The problem is they both had good 3-point shooting performances on Saturday. So I will not be betting that again. Portland at Boston. Boston laying 8. Injuries. Denny Avdija is questionable with the back injury. And then both the Boston centers are questionable with an illness. These teams played on December 28th in Portland. The Blazers won 114-108. I really did want to like Derek White because Portland's not only allowing the 9th most points per game, overall, small forwards are hitting at a 57% clip over their points prop. But unfortunately, Derek White's props are like a point too high. He's averaging about 16 points a game against bottom 10 defenses. His prop was 17.5, so no Derek White for me. On the Portland side, I like a lot of props. Shaedon Sharpe under 22.5 points. He's only averaging 18 to 19 points a game this year against top 10 defenses. He also just went under. He just had a big game last game against Boston, and he's got under his points prop on the road in 58% of games. The Celtics allow the 3rd least points per game, with guards about 70% of the time going under their prop against the Celtics. Shaedon Sharpe had a good game last time. That doesn't happen much against Boston. This number is already too high, so we're going under on Shaedon Sharpe. Same thing goes for Jonathan Clingan, who had a massive rebounding performance in the last game, 18 rebounds against Boston in December. This prop's 11.5. He's averaging about 10 rebounds a game against teams top 10 in rebounds allowed. The Celtics, they allow the 7th least rebounds per game. 79% of centers have gone under their rebound prop in the last 10 against Boston. So Clingan under 11.5 rebounds, that's not going to happen again with like that 18-point performance. No, thank you. Not happening. Sorry, just got a weird text. You guys, nothing of DJ. Drew Holiday, great matchup for him. He's getting a terrible perimeter defense. The Celtics allow the 6th most threes per game. Drew Holiday over 1.5 threes or over 11.5 points. Holiday this year in 6 matchups against bottom 10 perimeter defenses, averaging 3 threes a game and just between overall 18 points a game, but 21 points on the road. So you go over points, you go over his threes. I know his playing time hasn't been as much, but it's only a 1.5 3-point prop, which is pretty good. It's pretty juiced though, minus 145. So you could just go over on his points. Going between Luka and LeBron, these were the different, Holiday revenge on old team. I like Holiday. Luka and LeBron, here's how we're going to differentiate those two. They're up against the bad defense, the Bulls. They're bottom 10 in points allowed, bottom 10 in rebounds allowed. Luka over points, over assists, over PRA, or over points and rebounds. So against bottom 10 defenses, Luka's averaging 35 points a game, 37.5 on the road, averaging 10 assists against bottom 10 defenses. On the road with LeBron, Luka's gone over his PRA 70% of the time, his points and rebounds 60% of the time, his rebounds 60% of the time, and rebounds and assists 60% of the time. The problem is that Luka's rebound number is too high for me based on how he does against bottom 10 defenses. Normally it's his points and assists that pick up. So if you combine all of the different things of how he does with LeBron and all the bottom 10 defensive stats, points and you could combine the points and rebounds at least because the points should make up for it. But it's weird. With LeBron on the road this year, Luka's only gone over his points prop 30% of the time. So it's got to be combined with something. PRA stood out the most to me because he's averaging PRA. He's actually PRA is the one I probably like the best for Luka, even though it's really freaking high, 49.5. But he's averaging 55 PRA on the road against bottom 10 defenses this year. So as for LeBron, you could look at over points, you could look at over assists, you could look at over points and assists, because his points and assists, it's only hit 50% of the time, but his points is actually hit 60% of the time with Luka on the road. His points prop's 22.5, and on the road against bottom 10 defenses, LeBron's averaging 23 points a game. His assist prop's only 6.5, and he's averaging 7 to 8 assists per game against bottom 10 defenses. Only hit 40% to the over with Luka, though, this year on the road. But the Bulls, they've actually allowed 57% of small forwards to go over their points prop against Chicago this year. 69% of power forwards and 56% of point guards went over their assist prop this year in the last 10 against the Bulls. So take with that what you may for separating those two between Luka and LeBron. That's all I've got for you guys today, actually. My royal locks of the day are probably the Portland ones. I'll get two. Best bets. Royal locks. Royal locks of the day. Shaedon Sharpe under 22.5 points. Again, he's only averaging about 18 to 19 points a game this year against top 10 defenses. Just had a big game last time around Boston. Boston's allowing the third least points per game, and guards they've been pretty good against this year. Plus 58% of Shaedon Sharpe's road games went under 22.5 points. Donovan Clingan under his rebounds as well. 11.5 is too high. I have it about 10. And Boston's allowed 79% of centers to go under their rebound prop in the last 10 games. So I don't think that they do that either. So good and bad news. The good news is I'm not really going anywhere. The bad news, tomorrow's probably the last live stream. The live stream's been a lot of fun, and I do love talking with you guys. And I'll probably do some live streams again. But the live stream just takes up a lot of time and effort. And unfortunately, there's just so many other things that I have to do throughout the day that I really just need to focus on the business side of things. But I'm going to be posting to YouTube. So everything is just, I'm not leaving. I'm just going to YouTube. YouTube is where everything's growing. Everything has been great on the X stream for sure, but it's unfortunately just not where I've been advised to put all of my resources, and the live stream just takes up a lot of time and effort. And I feel like I can't give you guys a great live stream the way I wanted to, with the way that, like, I love getting guests on the show every day, and I love producing the show and doing it for you guys, but it just eats up a lot of time. So I think everything just has to go to YouTube for now. And then when things start growing more at the YouTube channel and at thepropqueen.com, then I will definitely try to do live again. But I just need more. The truth is I need more help to put all this together and grow everything else. But unfortunately, I just don't have all the resources just yet. Can you just cut it to 30 minutes every other day? I'll think about it. I'm not fully set on this, like fully being gone. I just needed to figure out something else. You know, this is the part of the business, and full transparency. The live stream doesn't make money. Like everything else I've been doing is making money. And I'm still not Sir Mackie. I'm not leaving the YouTube. The YouTube is staying. I'm doing everything on YouTube. It's just not live. I don't know. I can't really hire. Oh, thanks, guys. Full transparency. The live stream just doesn't make money. Everything else is making money. The newsletter is doing well. The website does well. The YouTube is going to is making money, but the live stream just doesn't. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. It's a hard business move, truthfully, but I'm going to try to build everything else so that I could get more help on the live stream. And this way and I would definitely, stop it, EC Money. I'm not doing, it's not about that. It needs to be consistent helping. Like, it's so hard to explain. I feel so bad because I really didn't want to leave the live stream. It's been about a year of doing this thing, and it's been a lot of fun talking to you guys. And I really don't want to lose the communication with you guys, but I won't on social media. Like, we could all just communicate via X and whatnot. I'm going to try to go live, like, thank you. I'm going to try to go live at certain points, and I think it's going to help to be able to go live for big things, big events. I'm going to do webinars too, which will be live. I'm going to do some webinars for like the beginning of each season, getting you guys back into the mode of, I'll do lives for that, like making sure, like, hey, if you forgot how to handicap MLB, here's how we're going to handicap MLB. Oh, you see money. That's so sweet. Again, my content's not going anywhere. It's going to be on the YouTube. Like, I'm going to still be putting prop info out every day. The newsletter, the YouTube channel at Prop Queen Media, the newsletter at thepropqueen.com. Everything's still going to be posted. My problem is that the live stream is so late in the day that I can't get things on YouTube fast enough. So if I don't have it on YouTube for a long time, then the videos don't do well, because by the time everything goes to YouTube, it's already like tip off. So I really needed YouTube to grow more. So it's not like the lives are better for what I do. You guys are killing me. I really love doing it. I do. But I'll think about it. I'm thinking maybe I'll just do a few lives a week instead of every day. But then it's like very inconsistent, you know? I know. 5 p.m. 5 p.m. has been great. But again, no, I don't hate you guys. I love you guys. You guys are the hardest part of doing this. But when it comes to my time and my schedule, it's really difficult to do the live stream and do everything else. You make too much of a difference in us. I'm not disappearing. I'm going to the YouTube channel. You just have to check out the YouTube channel. Maybe I'll do the YouTube channel live. I don't know. I'll see. But everything has to be earlier. That's the problem. That's why I thought lives do better, because of the timing. Yes, I know, that was the thing. The lives were supposed to be for 5 o'clock because it's supposed to be the best time of day with everybody getting off work. But the problem is, since the videos aren't living on YouTube, they're not making money. They need to live on YouTube. It's not about 4 or 4:30. It's like I need everything to live longer on YouTube, like longer than an hour or two. I don't know. I have to think about it. But right now, especially because I'll be in San Francisco all next week, I definitely won't be able to do lives. I'll still be back tomorrow, though. We're doing one more live at least tomorrow. Then I'm going to focus on posting Super Bowl content Wednesday through Friday, so at least Super Bowl content can live on the site. I'll have NBA props up on this YouTube as well. And then as I go through the next couple of weeks, seeing how things go with the YouTube channel. So definitely just subscribe to the YouTube channel at Prop Queen Media. We'll do one more tomorrow, a live. And then for the next couple of weeks, I just have to kind of sort out the YouTube channel. We're going to do some more things for the Prop Queen Media YouTube channel. I will still be posting Prop Queen Edges every day. I will still make sure that there's a lot of Super Bowl stuff. Like, I'm going to go like probably different categories of props for Super Bowl so that you guys can have all the different things you're looking for Super Bowl props. I'm going to be posting more how-tos. I'm going to lean a lot into the Prop Queen method, because the Prop Queen method is the way that I love to break down all the games. So helping you guys learn to be smarter bettors. And I'm going to do a lot of interviews with people that, to get them on the show, like to have a whole YouTube interview with these people for sports gambling and talking about sports betting and the future of the industry, more from entrepreneurial side of things. Learning from other people's viewpoints of how the sports betting industry is going to continue to grow. I'm going to consider, though, all of your thoughts in the chat. We will still be live tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. I will think of how we can still do these things. I know. I like being live and present too. But you know what? It's like I've got a lot of you guys who have been here every single day, and it's been freaking amazing getting to talk to you all, and that's what makes me so sad. But it's not doing enough, unfortunately. I don't know. I have to think about it. But for now, it's just I'm just playing around with all the different options I've got for what could be good and what can work. But the lives don't work on YouTube as well as... Thank you guys. You guys are the best. I appreciate you all. I know it's been a year of us going live at 5, and it's been fun with you all. But there's a chance. I'll think about it. I'm going to think about it. and I will let you know tomorrow if I come up with anything. But I will still definitely be on the YouTube channel at Prep Queen Media, and I will be doing all those live webinars coming up. Maybe one for Super Bowl, definitely for MLB. This way you guys can kind of get refreshed on how to handicap those sports, like when you need a good refresher. I'm glad I've helped you guys. I'm not going away. Like, I'm not leaving, and Prop Queen's going nowhere. It's just going to YouTube. We're just going to YouTube instead of, it's not a goodbye. Jesus, guys, it's not a goodbye. It's just going to YouTube. I will still be here to help you guys make money. I will. I just might not be able to communicate for you guys all the time. But I'll think about it. I'll think about what we could do to maybe go live on days that maybe are big slates or big games, and we could talk that way. But an hour is a long time of the day. I don't know. Okay. Best bets of the day, though. Shaden Sharp under points. Donovan Clingan under rebounds. I will see you guys tomorrow here at 5 on the Prop Queen Pod. Good luck to all of your bets tonight, and I will see you